Hi guys, welcome back to the vlog channel. This is going to be a little different video because I'm actually doing a podcast episode. I decided I'm just going to throw it on my vlog channel. We're going to start it. I'm hyped up on the new year energy and I don't want to delay this any longer because you guys know I've been saying I'm going to make a podcast for so long and then I just get way too perfectionisty about it and I never launch it. I get so caught up in like, oh, what's the cover art going to be? I have to make a trailer and all these things. And I think if I just get it out there and I post the first episode, it will force me to figure that stuff out and motivate me probably to do it because I'll be like, okay, there's already people listening on YouTube. So there's this first episode's just gonna be on YouTube on my vlog channel. You don't have to watch the video. Just this is really meant for listening. So yeah, this first episode is gonna be about New Year's goals and everything. I feel like it's just fitting with the new year. And I just finished yesterday, New Year's Day, going over all my goals and kind of like a bucket list for the year. That's always what I do just to get excited for it too. Like resolutions, you know, good habits and things, but also what fun stuff do I want to do this year too? What do I want to like start planning and putting feelers out there of like who wants to go on this trip and whatever, you know? This episode won't be on Spotify or anything like that, but I will get to that later, posting future episodes there. But I'm pretty sure YouTube may have updated it where you can lock your phone and go on a walk and like not have the video screen open. I don't know. I pay for YouTube Premium, so I can do that, but hopefully they've changed that. I know a lot of people don't like watching podcasts on YouTube for that reason, but I'll figure that out later. Like I said, I'm just all about starting and getting this out there, and that's kind of what works for me. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so let's actually get into it. I want to talk about New Year's goals and how we're gonna make 2025 the best year, even if you're not super excited for the new year yet. I mean, it's already here, but it's never too late to make goals. It can be halfway through the year. It really doesn't actually matter. But I do think when everyone else is doing it, it is a motivating time to kind of reflect and be like, okay, what do I want to change this year? What do I want to focus on? And that's what I've done. I'll kind of walk you guys through how I have approached my goals for this year. So I've broken it up into different categories. I watched another YouTuber's video, Charlie Chang. He uploaded a video about goal setting for the year. And I like this, breaking it down into financial, self goals, kind of like habit goals, relationship goals, like not just romantic relationship, but just like people, you know, in your life. Fun goals, I think that's a really, obviously a fun one, but a good one to have and some that people don't always do. Like what fun stuff do you want to make sure you do this year? And those are kind of the main ones that I've focused on. And also a word for the year. You know how people do that? I've never done that ever, but I think for this year, I've chosen the word expansion because I've decided I'm going to invest some of my money this year into a bigger place. I'm definitely going to move. I've been a little bit of a saver the last couple of years, just really like careful with my money. And I think this year I want to actually reinvest it into video ideas and like take more risks. And obviously starting the podcast even is part of that, like just expanding rather than, I don't know. I feel like the last couple of years I made videos, but I was like, I didn't take as many risks with them, I think. And I still did great and everything. And I think I still made some good videos, but I don't know, something about this year, I just feel ready to try some different stuff, like the podcast, for example, just finally get it out there. So let's go over some of the goals I've written down. Maybe it can inspire you of what kind of things you're thinking for the year. We can start with financial. I mean, I don't know if I really want to share what my actual income goals are, but one thing I will share is I have a passive income goal. And I think this is one that a lot of people don't think about. Obviously, I think it's important to write down the number that you want to make this year and make it a stretch goal. Don't just make it what you made last year. Make it a little more, unless last year was amazing and you just want to do that again. But I think it's important to write down that number, even if it feels crazy to you, because the thing is, if you can't even write it down, then you don't really believe that you're going to do it, and you're not then. If you write it down, that's like the first step in believing that you can actually achieve that goal. So no matter what it is, even if it feels kind of crazy, like a crazy number or whatever, just write it down. And sometimes you may not hit it this year. It may take a year and a half, whatever. But if it is a stretch goal, no matter what, once you hit it, you're going to be stoked. So I even had a year where, I've been pretty open about finances on YouTube, right? And I don't want to sound like braggy at all, but I had one year where I wrote down that I wanted to make $1 million. And that sounded crazy. It was like double what I had ever made. And that year I actually did end up doing it. And I didn't the following year, I think because I really didn't do goal setting that year. And also the economy was different. I kind of knew it was in 2022. That was a year where brands had a lot of money to spend. And I was like, I think that I could probably do that this year. Whereas the next year, just going realistically with the economy, I was like a little burned out too. So I didn't make finances as much my goal that following year as like resting a little bit and investing it and everything. But whatever feels right to you, maybe stretch it a little, because it's going to get your mind comfortable with that number and being like, I could actually do that. You don't have to know exactly how right now. Like, there's so many ways people make money. It's crazy, you guys. It could be that you have an idea to start a new business or a side hustle, or that you find a new job, or that you, by writing this down, do get the motivation to ask for a raise or something like that. Like, we're not focusing on the actual execution right now, but just like ideally, best case scenario, what do you want? Write that down, because I feel like if you can't do that, then you're just never going to get it. Write down your financial goal, whatever it is. And I feel like, honestly, it doesn't need to be more than 3 lines. I also did write that I want to contribute to my retirement and HSA accounts, just as a reminder, like for the tax write-offs, like, that is part of the financial goal. So it's a boring one, but yeah, on to the habit goals. I feel like these are great ones because no matter what, you have total control to be able to do them. The financial one is a little more up in the air. Like, it's very dependent on, I feel like, the economy in general, what's available and whatever. And like, I'm putting it out there to manifest that, but like, you don't actually know for sure how it's going to play out. With the self goals, it's just like nice to know that no matter what, you can have some goals that you can totally achieve. So for me, it is workout 4 to 5 times a week. That does include tennis, so that's really doable for me. I pretty much already do that, but I just like to keep that one there because I think it's a good goal, even if I'm not playing tennis, just going to the gym, whatever, getting a workout in, even sometimes just going on a walk if I'm feeling really low energy or something. But that's, for me, a really important goal because it just gives me energy. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel motivated, and like, the endorphins are powerful. Like, if working out is not a habit for you, that is a great one to start. Even if you start small, it's a really great habit. And I think if you are going to start that one small, don't start it as workout once a week. Just start it as like workout for 5 minutes every day, because that's doable. You can do that every day and it's going to actually build the habit. But with working out, I think it's okay to take breaks too. Like, you need to rest sometimes. And realistically, like, if you're traveling and stuff, it kind of goes out the window at times. But yeah. Okay. My next habit goal is to read before bed instead of going on TikTok. Oh my God. Like, I was kind of good about this for like a month this year, and then I went back to TikTok. It's just so addicting, but it's horrible because it makes me stay up later, and I need to not do that. Like, I have a freaking library card. Just go and get books. Reading before bed makes you fall asleep so much quicker. It's just better for your brain. So that's what I'm doing. And then I'm also this goes hand in hand, is to wake up between 7 and 7:30 a.m. on weekdays. So this last year, I actually let myself sleep in more. I would wake up around 8 a.m. And that was kind of unusual for me, but I was just prioritizing sleep. And I haven't fully decided like which I think is more worth it, because sleep is so important. And sometimes I would rather get good sleep, but also my most productive hours are in the morning. And yeah, so I think 7 to 7:30 a.m. for me is a really good happy medium. 6 a.m., I've done that, and then I get so tired so early. So I would just prefer the 7 a.m. one. I mean, whatever works for everyone. Obviously, if you work remote or if you have a job that's a little more flexible on your start time, you can control this, but not everyone can. I have the luxury of it, so I think I'm just going to go with the 7 a.m. That's, yeah, just to be a little more productive. So yeah, and today I did that and it was kind of painful. Not going to lie, I wanted to sleep a little longer, but I was like, no, like, let's just start the day. And then I was really glad that I did. Always like once I have some coffee, I'm glad I got up and just started being productive before everyone's awake to email you and text you and this and that. And then next habit goal is to plan my day the night before. This is one I haven't really ever consistently done before, but I think there's a lot of benefits to it. I feel like you kind of sleep better when you have your plan for the night before. And working for myself, sometimes I just do kind of leave it to the next day to be like, I'll figure out tomorrow. But I don't know. Then I feel kind of like scattered in the morning, and I have to prioritize and spend that time being like, okay, what's the most important thing? Whereas if you do it the night before, you can have the time to plan a little bit. Like if I need to order something online for a video, or if I need to reach out to someone, oftentimes I'll also remember little things that I would have forgotten. So for example, I'm selling my vacuum, like a vacuum on Facebook Marketplace, like an old one that I have. And I remember that last night when I was making my plan. I would not have remembered that if I just did today, because I'd be like this morning if I made a plan. So anyway, a lot of reasons to plan the night before. I'm just going to start being better about that. I mean, I do make a rough outline of the week usually, but just really planning the night before. And what I've been trying to do too is make a best case scenario. How do I want the day to go? So yesterday I did write out today's plan, and I'll kind of even read some of it. Like I said, I wake up feeling refreshed. I actually didn't, but that's okay. And then I said, like, I get right to editing the video I'm working on, and I get into a really good flow state. I'm having fun with it. Kind of got into a good flow state with it rather than just saying editing the video. Like, no, how do I want to feel during it? Like intentionally, what do I want it? If I can have the best day, if I can make it the best day, how do I want that to go? Sometimes with editing, I'll just kind of like dread it because it's like doing a puzzle. It's like doing a math problem or a riddle, some of the videos. And so I was like, no, we're going to get into the flow. I'm going to have fun with it. And I actually kind of did. And so I have more stuff for the rest of the day, but that's something that I'm experimenting with, is just like writing out my plan for the next day, but also writing out best case scenario, how I want it to go. So like, say you have like a meeting, you have to like do a sales pitch, not just writing out sales pitch 10 a.m., writing out like, I feel prepared for the sales pitch and it goes really well and whatever. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's something to that. Just visualizing how you want your day to go can help you get there. Not always. It's not always going to pan out. You know, things happen. Not every day is perfect, but it can't hurt. That's always what I think. So those are my self goals. And then also, this isn't really a habit, but I want to move to a bigger space this year. Like I mentioned, my lease isn't up for like 3 more months, but after reviewing my finances yesterday, I went through and kind of calculated like how much money I made this year. And I was like, you know what? It's time to invest in a space where I can have an office. Like, I'm turning 30 this year and I feel like I deserve it. Like, I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. I live below my means, and I'm just like so careful with my money always. I've always been such a saver, like even when I was really young, like just afraid to like spend kind of. And I know I can afford it and it's fine and it will be totally fine. But I always want to optimize for investing more and whatever. And I'm trying to just remind myself, like, this is an investment in the quality of your life. One, like, I think I will just feel better with more space because I also just don't have a lot of storage in this apartment. There's other things about this apartment that I don't love too. Like, I like it actually for the most part. I like a lot of stuff. Great lighting. I have a cool view. The building's modern. The hot tub is great. Like, honestly, this apartment has been great, but there's a couple things that I am really excited to fix about my next place. I mean, one being just a little more space for storage, having an office, like a dedicated room, workspace, not just shoving my desk in a corner of my living room. Like, it's more important to me than that. You know, I want to be able to leave a tripod set up and light set up and record easier, like anything that makes it easier and more efficient to just get started filming is kind of worth it. And I've had an office in the past when I lived in that townhouse with roommates, and I was so productive then, like more productive than I am now. And I really think it's because of the office, because I could shut the door and not look at dishes that I have in the kitchen or whatever. Like I don't keep it really messy or anything, but like it just gets distracting if you have to film in a space that's not meant for filming. And if I didn't do YouTube, I wouldn't move to a 2-bedroom apartment. I really wouldn't care that much about my living space probably. Like I would want it to be like pretty nice, but I'm just so much more particular about it because it's like a studio. The lighting's got to be good, stuff like that. And just having more space, I think will unlock more like backgrounds and be easier to film, and with doing a podcast too will be better. So that's a long-winded way of saying, yes, I'm finally going to just decide to spend some money and get a bigger place. And I'm putting this out there now. If I go back on it, then I'll be like, what? But yeah, that is the plan as of now. And I'm getting excited about it too. I'm like, okay, this is going to be good. So those are all the like like habits, just like things that I want to do for myself. And then relationship type goals. I really think this more as like friendship and such, and like community. I did write down just like a generic, like find more community in LA. I think for me though, I would like to find more of a sense of community walking distance to where I live. Like I want to like be a regular at a coffee shop or something. Like I just want to I want to like make more friends within walking distance to me, because to me that's like the biggest hack in making a place feel homey, because LA, you got to drive so far and whatever, but like I love walking and I can walk to some stuff. I don't know if I can meet more people, like even in my building or like that live walking distance, then that would be cool. Like actually going to coffee shops around here to work out of, which I don't really do that much right now, or whatever, stuff like that. So that's one. I want to host once a quarter, like organize, have like people over at my place. Once a quarter seems pretty doable. I mean, right now my apartment's not super good for that, but like the hot tub area, grilling really is, and I want to utilize that and just plan it. And you know, I think that'd be a fun way to bring people together and just do that more. Not an overwhelming amount though, because hosting's a lot of effort, but yeah, once a quarter, I think we can do that. And it makes for fun memories, you know? I've never really regretted it. I'd like to make like a few new friends potentially. Honestly, I feel like I'm all set on friendships for the most part, but I'm always open to new friends. So I wrote that because I'm just always open to it. Like if I meet people who I just really click with and enjoy being around, like I'm always open to it, especially that live close by, because people are just always moving, and I feel like I make friends and then it's like, oh, they moved like to a new city or whatever. So that's kind of why I'm always just open to new friendships, because well, LA is a transient city, so you kind of have to be if you want to keep your social life fun, I would say. Even if someone's moving across town, like I have one friend who moved across town and it's like almost like they live in a different city, because yeah, she's like an hour away in traffic. Yeah, that's what I'm always open to. I'm honestly not putting a ton of effort into that. I feel like I'll probably just be able to do that through friends of friends or tennis or whatever. And then organize fun group activities. I've written down some stuff in my fun category, and I'm just going to like text groups of friends and see who wants to go. And I don't know, I love a group activity more than a one-on-one thing. Like getting a group of like 3 or 4, like small group type activities are really fun to me. If it's too big, it's like not as much in my opinion, because you just don't really get the time to like talk to everyone. Like me and some friends did a brunch and it was, I think 6 of us. And at that point it was 2 groups at separate sides of the table talking, because it just, I don't know, worked out that way. So sometimes I'm like maybe 4 max, maybe 5 max. I don't know. But I just find that works better. Strengthen current friendships, just like, you know, invest more time into my current friends, like host people in Palm Springs and stuff. I feel like I already do that, but just writing it down just because, I don't know, it is important to me. Like, it's honestly like the fun in life is like the people that you're around. So, you know, money is like important to be making it, and the good habits, that's important too. But like relationships with people and the fun things are really, it's like that's the part that makes life worth living and fun. Like that's what we're making the money for. That's what we're taking care of ourselves for, so we can enjoy our time with people that we want to, right? Doing things like having fun experiences and memories and stuff. And then I made a fun category. I feel like the fun category, just make it really long. Just write down everything that you might want to do this year. You don't have to end up doing all of it, but I just like to make a bucket list for the year of anything that might sound fun, because I find that when I do this, and I've done this like twice before when I've moved. When I moved to Seattle, I did this. When I moved back to LA, I did this. Made a bucket list of everything that looked fun. You can go on TikTok and Instagram Reels too. It's got good inspiration like for fun stuff in your city. Luckily, I live in LA where there's so many fun things to do, but I find that when I do this, I actually make it happen, because when I'm with friends, I'll remember that fun thing I want to do and be like, hey, would you guys want to go, for example, what's one? Like do a resort pass at a hotel one day, or like fun, more unique things. Usually people are pretty down for it, because most of us get like not that creative with what we do with our friends. It'll be like go to dinner, go to drinks or whatever. So when you have these fun ideas, people hop onto it. They're like, wait, yeah, I want to take a cooking class at Italy. That's one I want to do this year. So yeah, I've just written down a bunch of stuff, like ideal trips I'd love to go on. I want to go to a Grand Slam tennis tournament. I want to actually join a tennis league. They have these like leagues where you kind of join a team, and that looks really fun. Like I want to play an actual match. I haven't done that before. I just go to live ball classes, they're called. A Napa trip. I know I'm going to be doing that for Monica's bachelorette party. I want to try Ola beach tennis. It's kind of like tennis on the beach. It's interesting, but I think that could be a fun thing. Just whatever. I want to do a summer boat day, like rent a boat with friends. There's this resort in Sedona, Arizona I really want to go to called the Enchantment Resort. So writing this all down at the beginning of the year really makes it more doable for the year. I also did write down that I want to sell 5 houses because I got my real estate license, as you guys know, but I haven't been prioritizing that as much because it's been the holidays, so it's always like slower with that stuff. And that I definitely have been more into YouTube lately. I want to volunteer at Habitat for Humanity. They do these like house builds, and you can volunteer and like help build. And I've wanted to do that for a couple years, but they don't often have the opportunity to. They don't like have it available. Like they don't have a project going on all the time. Host a tennis brand event, like an event with a brand, get people into it. That'd be really cool. Those are just some things. I could go on forever probably. I mean, those are like kind of a lot of the ones I wrote down, but I would encourage you just like make a long list. You don't have to do them all, but it will just really get you excited for things that you can do. And you also don't need to think of stuff that costs a lot of money. Like one of my favorite things to do is have a picnic, get some friends together, go have a picnic at a beautiful park, bring a Bluetooth speaker. It's like free. You just bring like the food, or you can bring drinks or something if you want. It's way cheaper than going to a restaurant, and it's so fun, and it just mixes it up from what you normally do. Or you can do that at the beach, of course. Yeah, that's one that's like not expensive. Those are kind of my categorized lists of things that I've written down. And honestly, I think it's fine throughout the year to like reinterpret it, because I want to talk about like if you don't hit past goals, or like reflecting on the past year and what goals maybe if you didn't hit any, because sometimes I'll do this where I'll write stuff down and I'm writing it down because I feel like it's a good goal to have, but then I realize later I don't truly care that much to put the effort in to get it. So one that I've written down like a couple years probably is to grow on TikTok, to get like 100,000 TikTok followers. All right. And then I don't really end up prioritizing it, and I post a little bit, but I definitely don't put in the effort that it would take to get to that number. And it kind of just tells me like I didn't want it that bad. It really wasn't as much of a priority to me as YouTube, I guess, and just like doubling down on what I already have going on with that. So I think that's kind of what happens if you realize you didn't hit a goal. You will either be disappointed and be like, shoot, I really need to prioritize that, or it'll enlighten you to being like, actually, I don't think I wanted that bad anyway, and that's okay too. But yeah, it can be kind of eye-opening to see, or just realizing that sometimes things just take longer than a year. We give ourselves this arbitrary time frame of 1 year because it's just how we measure. It's just how we measure life in general, but it's okay if it takes longer than that. And honestly, a lot of goals that are worth pursuing do take longer. And sometimes you don't know when you're going to get it. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen, you know? So yeah, that's definitely been the case with financial goals in the past. I've probably previous years written out goals. I've done this since I was like literally 18, like written out how much I want to make. And sometimes it'll be a few years later that I make that number within a year. Guess what? I'm still excited about it. And yeah, so you don't always know exactly how it's going to pan out. But that's the thing with goals. Like I said, it can't hurt to make them. It usually is pretty motivating. And I don't think you need to be too afraid of not achieving them. Sometimes, like, I kind of felt that when I was setting goals. I was like, oh, it's kind of overwhelming. Like, this is a lot of stuff I want to do. But also, you will just quickly start to prioritize and see if there are things that you didn't actually care that much for. Like, now that I have made my list, it's the next day, right? I made it yesterday. It's the next day. And I am kind of going through a little more refining, like, okay, why do I want that goal? Like, does that actually matter, or could I cross that off, like certain ones? Now let's talk about some habits in the past. This is just inspo if you're kind of figuring out what you want to do this year or what might make your life better. I want to go through some things that I've done in the last few years that I'm very glad I did, and I feel like made my quality of life better in general. So maybe just some ideas of if you want to change your life in some way, like habits and things in general. So the first one was getting organized. This year I got super organized because my apartment is so small. I had to get organized. Like, every cabinet has containers, has a place for everything. My desk drawer is super organized, and it did make me feel just so much more peaceful. And it was kind of fun to do once I like ordered the stuff to organize. Honestly, I had to invest some money into it. I was like, oh, I'm spending a lot on like containers for things, but it was well worth it because the sense of peace you feel, like, you just feel less stressed out when you know where your things are. And along with that, decluttering, getting rid of stuff that you don't use, selling some of it on Facebook Marketplace if you can. That's honestly the best thing to do. Then you get some money for it and you don't have to go anywhere. Like, people will come to you. It's really convenient. But also donating things, because certain things are not really worth like selling. Just clothes a lot of the time, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna donate it, or like random stuff. But it always feels so good to declutter. And if you haven't done that in a while, it might be time. Like, I just am a big fan. I feel like I do that every 3 months. I make a trip to the Goodwill, or I actually took stuff to a different donation center this last time because people have been telling me the Goodwill is like sketch. Like, they're actually not that good of an establishment, but I don't know all the details on that. But something to keep in mind, maybe just donate it to like a local place that takes the donations. So yeah, also a digital declutter is good. I'm going to be real. I haven't done that, but I probably should. I know people feel really good when they do. I try to keep my computer organized. Like, I make sure all my files on my computer are very organized, but I haven't done like a phone declutter, and I could use one. Like, I could go through and delete some photos for sure. But that's one that's, you know, it's not like going to make you more money necessarily or anything like that to get organized, but I think it's worth doing. Like, it will just make you feel better. It doesn't take that much time. It took me a couple days to like really get organized, and it's kind of fun once you get started. So I would say to do that. Another thing, invest in a hobby. Okay. So many people don't have hobbies, but if you can find a hobby that you actually love to do, like you intrinsically love it, you're not doing it for any ulterior motive of like making money or whatever. You just like really love to do it. And especially if it's a hobby that gets you into a group of people every week. So for me, obviously, I know I'm a broken record talking about tennis, but it honestly has just been like so much of a quality of life boost for me. Like, I can't even imagine if I hadn't found it, because it just is so fun. It's just like, I feel joyful when I'm playing tennis most of the time. And it's like, that's why I'm doing it, for the fun of it. And to have something like that is very special in a time where, you know, when you're an adult, it's like, you don't have that much time to just have fun, to just feel like it's play. You know, we're playing tennis, we're playing a game. I really think games are the way to go. Like volleyball, any racket sport, pickleball is easier to get into than tennis. Honestly, tennis, you kind of have to invest some money into, because if you want to get to a point where you can play and it be pretty fun. I do think you need to take some private lessons or semi-private lessons. Like, you need the technical instruction because it is very technical. Although I've seen like some guys can like low-key pick it up. Like, they'll just like are athletic. I needed the instruction. I just had never played a racket sport, so I wasn't very good at it. But now I feel like I've gotten way better, and it's introduced me to a ton of new people. That's how I've met like so many new friends this last year that are just so fun to hang out with, like a breath of fresh air. It's not like, I mean, love my YouTube friends, but it's cool to hang out with people who do totally different stuff too. Yeah, I think if you're wanting to like get out there and do something fun, meet new people, racket sports, or like really any sort of game is good for that. Like volleyball, whatever you have near you. I'm sure there's like more random stuff. I've seen people do like ice skating classes, but if you can sign up for like a weekly group where the same-ish people are there, that's a good way to meet new people. And like meeting new people can really just bring cool experiences into your life. Like this last year, me and two of my tennis friends went to Italy, and that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't met them, because a lot of my friends just weren't in a place where they could go on a trip. And so, yeah, I feel like I manifested people who want to travel in the same way I do, kind of. So I'm planning a ski trip with a couple other tennis friends, and just in general, I think it's such a better way to meet people than through work or school, because you're all bonding over this activity that you love to do. And it's better also even than like a workout class, because to be honest, I don't think I've ever actually like made a friend at a workout class. I know sometimes people do, and I've heard that like CrossFit actually is more niche and people kind of do with that. But for the most part, if I'm going to a workout class, I'm just there for the workout, and I'm on my individual like machine, and I might like say hi to some people or make some small talk, but I'm not usually like making friends outside of the class. So, and I don't think most people are, honestly. Like sometimes people say that they're like, go to the gym to meet people. I'm like, the fuck, who is actually making friends at the gym? Like, I'm sorry, but I feel like everyone's in their own little world, and it's just a much better way to, with like a niche activity, a niche hobby. Doesn't really even have to be an athletic thing. Could be like pottery or something. But I think that the games, like the athletic ones, or an intramural like softball league, I know my sister has done that, and like kickball, people do that too. Those are ones where you can meet people and also just have a fun time. Like I would do tennis even if I didn't make any friends from it, just because I love it. So it's sort of a win-win in that way. It's actually like, I would say it's like 3 birds, 1 stone, because it's super fun. So it fulfills that like fun need that I have. It's a great workout. Like I don't feel like I have to go to the gym if I go to a live ball class. You're burning so many calories. You're basically running like 4 or 5 miles. And 3, it's a fun social activity where you can meet people. So if I'm editing all day and I'm on my laptop, I know I have tennis later, I'm like, oh, this is good, because like, you know, I'll at least interact with some people today. Where some days I like am literally, if I'm just like focused working all day, I don't really do that as much. So I like that, because I feel like I need that every day, like some social interaction. Like I literally hate if I'm editing too much. I'm like, I need to go film something. I need to go interview someone, because I'm getting like bored here, or like go hang out with someone. Those are some things. I think another one is getting your finances together. This is kind of a boring one, but it feels really good once you do it. Just imagine how you're going to feel when you are ready. Maybe not your taxes. We won't talk about that. Taxes are so boring. But when you have your brokerage account opened and you're making passive money from it, and you finally did it, you know, because I meet so many people, girls especially, who are like, oh, I want to invest, and they just don't. They get overwhelmed. And guys, it's so easy. Like people want you to think it's more complicated than it is. Like there's a whole industry, I feel like, that wants it to seem more complicated than it is. It's really not hard to just invest in, I mean, what I do, not financial advice. What I do, I just invest in index funds that have the overall stock market. I mess around with individual stocks a little bit, but I wouldn't recommend that. And I dollar cost average in. So I basically put a little bit of money in each month rather than one lump sum, because then you're never buying at the top of the market or the total bottom of the market. You're just kind of evenly buying in. So yeah, it's really easy to do. I'm sorry if this seems basic if you already do this. The next one, if you want to make your life better, but you're not really sure how you want to do it, learn how to use AI better. Like literally ask ChatGPT, what ways could I use this that I don't know about? or watch YouTube videos about it. Like that is probably for all of us the best use of our time, low key, because it makes your life so much easier. I feel like I really did lock into that this year, and I just got more efficient. I just got better about using AI for things and using voice to text, for example, or using Siri, or using these little tools to just like make tasks easier. And I think that is like worth its weight in gold. Like, yeah, especially because AI is moving so quick. And if you have an understanding of it more than other people, you're going to see even newer ways that you can use it. Maybe think of business ideas, stuff like that. Like it is such a life upgrade. If you're not using ChatGPT, like it's time. It's time to get on board. You can use it for everything. I sometimes use it almost like a therapist. Like I'll ask it for advice even. But I mostly use it for like writing emails, for brainstorming videos, coming up with different title ideas. It's super good at that. But you do kind of need to train it. That's the thing, is it's not going to be good the first time. Like give it an example and be like, write like this. But once you dive into that world, it's very, very, very worth it. Like spending the time learning about that. I'm for sure going to do more of that this year. Like, I don't know what else I could learn about it, but I'm sure there's always more stuff. There's always new updates with it. And it's really fun too. It feels like magic. You're like, wait, I don't have to do this anymore. It can do this. There's a new thing called AI agents, and I'm going to look into that. Like you train a little agent to do stuff for you, so it's like a more advanced sort of AI thing. All right guys, that is the first episode. I just wanted to get this out there and stop being such a perfectionist about it and like just start, because that's what I'm always like preaching to people, is just starting things and iterating on it later, because truthfully it doesn't matter that much anything on social media. Like you don't need to be that much of a perfectionist, because you're just going to post something new the next week and you could make it better and better and better. And honestly, a lot of times I look back and I'm like, that was better than I thought. Like, why was I being so hard on myself? Like, I do kind of have a negativity bias with the content I make. Even this, I'm like, is this good? I don't know. I think it's just important to start. Like I said, starting for literally 5 minutes, setting a 5-minute timer. That is always what I do. Like usually you're procrastinating out of fear, or just not having any momentum is really hard. So, you know, you don't have motivation. Once you have a little momentum, you're golden. Usually you get into a flow state and it's great and you want to keep going. Sometimes not the case, and that's okay. Like you'll get there. It might take longer than 5 minutes, but setting a 5-minute timer and just starting on that thing that you're kind of afraid to start, whether it's a YouTube channel or a podcast or whatever, you'll be amazed at how it actually can get you to do stuff. Or making that phone call, sending that email that you're nervous to send. Like just draft out the message and tell yourself you're not going to send it. But then once you have it drafted out, you're kind of like, well, I might as well send it. That's what I find. And that has freaking like changed my life. Like I've made videos with people that just from cold outreach that I was kind of nervous to do and almost didn't do, but I got myself to do it from doing that little 5-minute thing. And even this podcast, we're here, we're doing it. Obviously it took more than 5 minutes to record, but it all started with taking 5 minutes just to plan out what I want to say in the episode. You can break everything down into more manageable steps. So if anything is overwhelming, you can always break it down, like writing a book or something, if that's a goal of yours, like just writing 5 pages a day. Like how can you break things down so that they're like really doable, you know? Okay, I hope that you guys enjoyed. I'm a little nervous to post this. Also, this doesn't mean that I'm gonna stop with the vlogs. I did take a break during the holidays because I've been sick and I still am like a little bit congested. So I just didn't want to vlog while I was sick. But yeah, I will be back to posting vlogs and such soon. And hopefully you guys get hyped for the podcast. I think I'll continue posting it once a week on here for a little bit until I figure out the other stuff like Spotify and whatever. Let me know, like, where do you guys listen to it? Do you actually care about a video portion? Who should I have on? I obviously want to have guests on and interview people. Who should I have? Let me know if there are people that you think I should have. I have a whole list, but I'm curious, like, who you guys think. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I definitely feel imposter syndrome, and like, who would care to listen to me talk for 40 minutes or whatever? But also, I listen to people talk all the time and like for 40 minutes about kind of nonsense, and it's just sort of nice to have on a walk sometimes. So that's why the podcast is going to be called Step by Step with Shelby. Because really the idea is that you're on a walk with me. That's my favorite time to listen to a podcast. I feel like it's a good like habit stack. Like you're on a walk, you're doing something good for yourself, you're getting outside, you're getting the fresh air, but you're listening to a podcast. It's just relaxing, and it's one of my favorite things to do, honestly. Just, it's really nice. I feel like I always feel better after too. So that's that. Hope that you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next episode. And also let me know if you guys have topics that you want me to cover. Okay, that's it for today. Bye.